Hello everyone. Welcome to a special CATIA Systems Masterclass. It's special because today we are excited to unveil our brand new book, UAF WOW, a practical guide to enterprise transformation with UAF 1.2. In this exclusive session, our distinguished speakers and authors of the book, Aistė Aleksandravičienė, Edita Milevičienė, and Aurelijus Markevičius will guide you through the book's structure, having the Q&A session. It will help you to understand and learn what UAF is and why it matters. After the session, if you still have your questions, please ask them. The authors will spend some time to answer them. So now we all are ready to start our session. And for the warming up, I would like to ask everyone to introduce yourselves and your background in enterprise architecture and modeling.
I think I can go first. Do you see the speaker slide?
Yes.
Okay. So again, my name is Aistė Aleksandravičienė, and I am a senior consultant at DASA Systems. I have been in model-based systems and software engineering for more than 20 years. I provide MBSE trainings and workshops for clients. I share insights in papers and presentations at various systems engineering events. Together with Aurelius, I co-author the Magic Grid Book of Knowledge, which is about modeling the complex systems with SysML version 1 still. And in recent years, I have been expanding my expertise into the field of enterprise architecture with focus on applying unified architecture framework or UAF. Edita?
Hello, everyone. I'm Edita Milevičienė, and I'm colleague of Aistė. I also work as senior consultant at DASO Systems, and I have over 20 years of experience in model-based enterprise architecture solutions, and I work with different types of architectures, starting from enterprise architectures, then going to the software systems engineering and business process modeling techniques. So what I do, I help our customers to adopt modeling in their daily practice, and I'm also sharing my expertise in trainings, in workshops, and in conferences. And Aurelius?
Thank you. Yes, my name is Aurelius. I'm leading the team of MBSE and Enterprise Architecture Consultants in DASO Systems. My involvement in this business is 20 years, just like for my colleagues. So we've been working on this for quite a long time. Also for the 15 years, I've been involved with the object management group, working on the Unified Architecture Framework Standard, chairing the working group there. Also recently founded and chairing in COSI Enterprise Systems Engineering Working Group. One more hat to mention is sharing my knowledge with academia and working with students.
Okay, thanks a lot for your introduction. And now I think it's important for everyone to know what inspired you to write this book and why now.
That's a good question. Easy answer to this question is, well, there is no book for UAF. But digging a little bit deeper, first of all, we, as I mentioned, we've been working 20 years on enterprise architecture topic. Recently, we start looking into enterprise systems engineering, where we mean of applying systems engineering practices in to build the enterprise architectures. But throughout that period of time, we met a lot of clients. We met a lot of organizations who were willing to apply it, and it's still surprising there was really no resources for them to jumpstart. The only way to really start on UAF for 20 years was hiring consultants and start working with consultants, with third parties. And well, it's about the time that we saw that, okay, well, we need to change this. We need to be the first to release the book so that it would be some kind of material to start with if you want to apply UAF.
I see. And who is the primary audience you had in mind when you wrote this book? And how do you think people will use it? Edita, you are muted, please.
Hello, sorry about that. And the primary audience that we had in mind while writing the book are the enterprise and systems architects, also various modelers and practitioners who work with complex enterprises, organizations, and also various systems of systems, and those who need structured methods to align strategy, operations, and resources. Also, the book is valuable for students, researchers, and decision makers who want to understand how UAF can be applied in real-world context. And we hope that readers will use the book both as practical guide to support the daily modeling activities, architecture work, and we hope they will use it as a reference for learning and teaching. So basically, our goal was to make UAF standard accessible, actionable, and inspiring.
Okay, and for those unfamiliar, could you explain in simple terms what the Unified Architecture Framework UAF is and why it matters?
With pleasure, of course. It's not an easy task to do, but first of all, probably speaking about UAF, we should better understand what do we mean by enterprise concept, because this is common misconception that we see is where people think that enterprise is an organization. Well, we can say that organization is an enterprise, but there are different types of enterprises, different kinds of enterprises. We define it as the purposeful endeavor, which means that missions, for example, different programs and projects, joint ventures, the group of organizations, many things fit under the enterprise concept. And this is where we look broader than just modeling the simple organization. If we look into the difference between enterprise systems engineering and, for example, product engineering, how it's described by Nkosi is really going from complicated to complex, where enterprise engineering involves much more complexity. It has fuzzy requirements. There's always a lot of risk associated to it. It changes outcomes every day. Of course, it can be spread in geography. It can also, we need to capture how it changes in time, and moreover, it involves a lot of people. And when there are people involved, it's always more complexity than if we speak about standard products or services, let's say, that has no people involved. UAF, simply speaking, can be represented as the two-dimensional grid. It's somehow close to periodic table of elements that you probably remember from your chemistry classes. And it's actually a very good analogy to it, because in chemistry, we try to pick some of the elements and build, combine them to build a new material. We never build material from all of the elements that you have in the periodic table of elements. We barely even use half of them. So it's exactly the same here when we try to solve our problem that we have, depending on what the problem is. Is it we're doing mission engineering or business transformation planning? We need a different set of views of different cells in this grid to be selected and used. So this might look complicated, but at the end, we have simplified principal schematics that really puts UAF grid into a quite simple and easy to understand picture, Well, first of all, we describe why. It's our strategy. When we have the strategy, then we define operational scenarios, is what we want to achieve. And finally, we have multiple resource configurations of who and how will carry out those operational scenarios and support the capabilities, support our strategy that we have on top. And in between the operational and resources, we have trade-offs where based on what we want to achieve, we can run analysis, we can execute models, and we can figure out which resource configuration is the best for that operational scenario.
You mentioned planning. So the book illustrates enterprise transformation planning with UAF. Could you describe the case study and why you choose it?
Let me answer this question. Yes, in the book, we describe the public transportation enterprise that has operated a mixed fleet of trolley buses and diesel buses. And it was successfully operating for past few decades. But, the times are changing. The new technologies are upcoming. And with the rise of battery-powered and autonomous-driven vehicles, our enterprise decided that we want to plan for the future. And for that, they hired the enterprise architects and transportation consultants that has a lot of experience in UAF and, of course, CATIA Magic software. And those guys, they have recommended the public transportation enterprise to use the modern approaches for the transformation. And that modern approach is a model-based approach, of course. So together we decided, we identified actually the three main phases of the enterprise. The phases that you can see in the current slide. One current and two future phases. And our book tells a story of how the implementation of a current phase was captured in the UAF model. And then later on, how that UAF model can be utilized to specify one of the future phases, the near-term to be phase. Why did we choose that case, that sample? Was first of all, we wanted a study to be complex enough to cover all the UAF aspects and viewpoints that we want to demonstrate in the book. At the same time, we wanted it quite simple to be finished in a reasonable time, and it was, and we also wanted it to be relatable for the readers. Yeah, and we thought that public bus services are something almost everyone is experienced with. And here, I think it's time to mention the fourth author of this book, Barry Papke, who was the one to suggest this case study.
Okay, thank you, Aiste. So the UAF grid, which Aurelius showed, is really complex and large. Does the book cover it all?
Yes, the UAF grid is really large and complex. And Aurelius have mentioned that it is not used, the whole grid is never used. Yeah, so in our book, we also don't use all the cells of a grid. Yeah, so I can say no, the book doesn't cover the entire grid. Mainly we focus on the strategic, operational, personal resources and project viewpoints. And here in the slide, you can see which cells in particular the grid address.
Okay, and can you briefly tell us about the approach you described in the book?
I will try. I will try to briefly describe. We will see. You will see if I succeeded. Okay. So actually, the book describes the enterprise transformation planning approach with UAF, and here you can see the 5 steps of that workflow. Yeah. So first of all, we identify transformation drivers and challenges, then capture enterprise capabilities and strategy. The third step is capture the as-is architecture, the current phase, then define to-be architectures, and finally define the project's portfolio. I will tell you in detail all about each of the step, but first of all, let me go to the next slide, which shows actually the mapping, how each step is covered in general to the UAF grid. So we can see that the first step covers the strategic viewpoint, and it is about the understanding why the enterprise needs transformation. Various strategic motivators, including drivers, challenges, and opportunities, are identified in this step. The second step is also about the strategy. In this step, we identify the phases of the enterprise transformation, the sequence, and goals. Additionally, capabilities that capture various abilities of the enterprise are assigned to each phase. The third step is much more complex. It covers more viewpoints, and it is about documenting the as-is architecture of enterprise, which includes, as you can see, operational, personal, and resources architectures. The operational architecture, in this case, gives you the implementation agnostic description of what the enterprise does from the perspective of various operational performance. The personal architecture will help you to describe the human role in the enterprise. And the resources architecture provides already the implementation specific description of how the enterprise delivers its operational needs and capabilities. In the fourth step, which is even more complex than the previous one, we describe the to-be architecture, and we start from describing the to-be operational architectures. It can be, as opposed to previous step, more than one operational architecture specified. And if it is so, a trade-off analysis must be done to choose the optimal one. And afterwards, one or more to-be solution architectures, each including to-be operational and resources architecture, can be defined to specify how the chosen operational architecture will be implemented. And again, if several solutions are specified, another trade-off analysis needs to be done to pick the optimal solution. And finally, then we have the architecture of a to-be phase. We need to define the project's portfolio, which, as you can see, maps to the project's viewpoint. And in this step, we need to identify the projects that are needed to transform the enterprise from the current to the future phase. Project provide the resources that are necessary to enable future capabilities, and these capabilities we rely on multiple resources, so the projects can be interrelated. Having all this information makes it possible to see how changes in project affect capability deployment and identify capability gaps. And yeah, I am done with the workflow. Now I think it's time for Edita to tell us more about the sample, which illustrate the described approach.
Okay, I think we can put sample on stage. Yep, we have it. So the book itself includes a detailed sample that illustrates the approach that Aista just described. So basically, the sample walks the reader through the enterprise transformation scenario, telling a story of bus enterprise and showing how to capture architecture elements, how to model various relationships, and how to apply the framework in the practice. And the goal of this sample is to make the methodology easy to understand and provide possibility not only see images in the book, but also have a model where you can see how everything is implemented in the modeling tool, and you can see exactly how to use UAF in real projects. So what we have inside of this sample, you can see that once we open the sample, we have the index diagram, which includes the context, and the context diagram follows the workflow in which the book is written. So we start from the strategic phase definition by defining motivation and capabilities. Then we have the as-is architecture definition, which is, as I mentioned, quite complex and is composed from the operational phase, personal phase, and resources viewpoints descriptions. And all these three viewpoints describe as is situation of the enterprise. For example, we can select any diagram, and we can drill into this diagram, and we can check what we have inside in each of the diagram, and we can navigate from one diagram to the next, following the workflow that is described in the book itself, right? Once our as-is architecture was defined, the next step in the book was to define to-be architecture. And to-be architecture is a little bit more complex than as-is architecture. And again, the whole process, how we created the architecture, is demonstrated in the sample. You can find main diagrams, leading diagrams in here. And also, if you browse the model tree, you can find some additional diagrams that were not included into the book due to limited time, limited space that we had, but also very nice to explain architecture in more details. So in this sample, we have the to-be architecture, which is again composed of operational viewpoint, personal viewpoint, and resources viewpoint. And finally, the projects viewpoint is defined to specify what projects we need to have in enterprise in order to deliver resources for to-be phase to deliver the required capabilities. So the final result of the model is the project roadmap, where we can see what projects we have and what resources are delivered at these particular milestones. And finally, we can see when required capabilities will be available in our architecture, and if we have some capability gaps. So this sample is really detailed and includes even more information than is provided in the book itself.
And is the sample publicly available?
The sample is not publicly published yet, but the sample will be included into the upcoming Magic Systems of Systems Architect 2026 release, which is expected in late November. So the sample will be included into samples section, and everyone will be welcome to explore it.
I see. So it's a huge job done to write a book. And did you encounter some new insights on UAF application while writing the book?
Well, this is definitely true, and of course, it's really hard to describe how difficult it is to write the book. For example, preparing slide deck is a lot easier and a lot simpler, but when you do the book, usually you want the perfect result, and this is where you want everybody to agree on the things you put in the book, where the most of the challenges arise. Because naturally, every consultant, every expert has his own view of applying different standards, and we had exactly the same story when we write the book on Magic Grid, where we have different opinions, and it took just a couple of years to really align those opinions and come to consensus. It's same here, but we are professionals. We know that what we are expecting, and all of those discussions that we have, they really help us grow, and every one of us learn a lot of things while trying to find compromises, and the way how we really describe it in the book. So that's is really time consuming, and that's what really slows down the process, is really finding those compromises between different book authors.
So both of you, Aiste and Aurelio, you are authors of the other book, the Magic Grid Book of Knowledge, and how the approach described in this book compares to the Magic Grid Book of Knowledge.
Maybe I will take this question. Yeah, that's a very good question. Approach that we describe in the UAF WOW can be seen as a predecessor to applying the Magic Grid framework and SysML, which are described in the Magic Grid book. UAF WOW addresses a higher level of abstraction, such as systems of systems and enterprise architecture. And Magic Grid with SysML, they just focus on the architecture of an individual system. So shortly speaking, every system identified as necessary at the enterprise or systems of systems level can be later on specified in detail using the Magic Grid and SysML. And I think while answering this question, it is also worth mentioning that the two books also differ in style. The ones who wrote Magic Grid, they know that it is a very practical step-by-step guide, as we used to say, left click, right click manual that shows very precisely how to model. So UAF is different. It is written in more narrative, story-like form. And in this book, we emphasize why to model particular aspects rather than telling exactly how to do it. And there is a good reason for this. UAF is based on SysML, and underlying principles remain, consistent. So we didn't want to create another Magic Grid book. Instead of that, we aim to offer context, rationale, and inspiration.
Okay, thank you, Aiste. UAF is not the only one framework. And how do you see UAF fitting alongside other frameworks like TOGAF, NAV, or DODAF?
That's a very good question, because obviously we have many frameworks. Some of them are used more, some of them are used less. All of them have some kind of area where they're probably have advantages over the other. So, for example, TOGAF is a completely different mindset, and TOGAF is coming from IT, business-oriented approach, where UAF is coming from systems engineering approach. And in comparison to TOGAF, it brings systems engineering principles. So it brings precision, it brings what we call actionable architecture approach, where we can execute models, we can get results. Basically, it's, in my opinion, it's the next generation compared to what TOGAF has to offer, where TOGAF is pretty good on the flow, on the process, and how to create architecture, where it lack precision when we come to the languages and tools. Now, speaking about the Department of Defense Architecture Framework, probably should say Department of War Architecture Framework now, because the name was changed. The difference is foundation, because DODAF version 2 is based on ontology. The DM2 is the meta model that is not based on UML or SysML. But UAF is one of the languages that can be used with DODAF, so it brings some kind of partial compliance with DODAF views and allows to use systems engineering approach with applying SysML to build DODAF models. NATO architecture framework is kind of similar. UAF is an official meta model for developing NATO compliant architectures. And like with DODAF and NATO architecture framework, in both of the cases, both DODAF and NAV can be mentioned as subsets of UAF, because UAF grid covers more than these frameworks do. There are more capabilities in here, but at the end they're compatible here. Also with TOGAF process, we can use UAF with TOGAF process for sure. But there is no compatibility on the meta model side. Or for example, Archimate. If applying Archimate as the language for TOGAF models is the same, they're just two different foundations to be able to interchange or map models together.
Honestly, it seems quite scary. So, what advice would you give to someone starting to apply UAF for the first time?
Well, simply speaking, you need to read the book. but to be more serious, it depends on the application area, because as Aista mentioned before, we're focusing here on enterprise transformation planning, because it's kind of hot topic these days. If we speak about sustainability transformation, or of course digital transformation, that's what you can hear all over. And those companies that are more in engineering and already applying engineering practices are the first really to go and apply MBSC approaches to transform their engineering processes. That's basically the reason we chose this use case. But there are other use cases like mission engineering, and for mission engineering, I think this book still can be useful. The principles are similar, but if you want to understand better the process and what's actually needed to be done, there are some resources published by the DoD that are freely available to look at, like Mission Engineering Architecting Guide, which gives you a little bit different perspective. Or also many other different use cases that we can think of, and all of them would probably require to have a separate book. But I would say that at least 50% of the foundation we put into this book is applicable to all of them.
So, okay, so you mentioned these industries. So what industries should start using this? You mentioned airspace and defense, and are there others should be interested in?
Well, I can take this question. Absolutely, because first of all, A&D, which we call airspace and defense, is already big adopters of UAF, the big users. There's a huge market there. But when it comes to other industries, it's less adopted, just because, as I mentioned, there's lack on maturity of applying systems engineering approaches, lack of system thinking, knowledge, and of course there is a lack still on resources, and we hope with this book we will really encourage people to look at it more, and understand better that it's not that difficult approach. But we already have some examples, and if you go on YouTube and look for the just type UAF Summit, you can find a lot of publicly available stories from different industries, such as, for example, Federal Aviation Administration, the agriculture, also electric roads, electrification. So there are different examples from the different sectors, but we of course would wish more adoption in different industries.
Okay, so I see that writing this book will be a good step for other industries to start implementation and to get benefits from UAF. So we are going to more or less to the end. And can you tell us where can the audience get the book?
Of course. Here on the screen, you can see the link, so you can download the book directly using this link, or maybe even more simple solution, simply type into the search UAF WOW, and I'm sure that the first result will lead you to the page where you can download the book. The book download is free, so all you need to register and you can read this book. And if you prefer a printed copy of the book, so you can find us in upcoming conferences and events, and we will have some printed versions of the book for you in there.
Okay, and usually at the end of every session, I'm asking the speakers to give the summary, to take aways. So, and could you please, each of you, to summarize the book in one key message for enterprise architects? What would it be?
Okay, maybe I can go. I can be the first. My message is very short, very laconic. I think that with our book, we want to say that we want to wish that everybody use the modern ways to plan for future. That these modern ways, model-based ways, they will save a lot of time.
Mhm. I can also say that enterprise architecture is about turning complexity into the clarity and giving the users power to lead meaningful changes in a modern way.
Well, to summarize, maybe well, one of the things, first of all, a lot of people ask what this WOW means, and Aiste has come up with it. She said it's world of wisdom, and that's very true. But I start believing more and more that it's world of wonders, because it's really some wonderful material that can really help for those UAF adopters, and could be a big factor in the growth of use of UAF in different industries, which in my opinion is unavoidable, because people in doing enterprise systems engineering, if I can call that, or enterprise architectures, that they're really tired of PowerPoint approaches and Excel and many documents, or also some tools that are really immature, and from time to time, there are questions how we can actually do this better, but there is no political will to change. We're now with AI revolution coming in. I foresee this transformation happening, because as soon as we adopt AI, our PowerPoints and Excel sheets and Word documents will bring us little value compared to precise approaches that gives a lot more rigor and allows you to build actionable architectures. And this is where we can benefit from AI much more compared to where we are today. And And hopefully this will be the first step towards more precision, more rigor, and more actionable architectures in the world of wisdom.
Okay, yes. So we have one question from the user who is watching us on LinkedIn. And does 3DS provide consulting services for UAF?
We do provide some. It's not our primary business, I would say, but there is, of course, some services on our end, because it's a good question, because when we speak about enterprise systems engineering as opposed to model-based systems engineering, we usually need to involve consulting, either the third party or what we can provide on our end, because it is just, simply speaking, or the organization in this case, or the enterprise speaking more globally, cannot really transform itself. Someone else need to transform it, need to help with the transformation, or at least describe the plan. So services are unavoidable, in my opinion, in this case.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So I think that you did a great job presenting the book. Before that, you had a thought. You make this thought live. You have the book. So, and oh, okay, I cannot finalize. We have the question. Sorry. So I will show this question. So for everyone to have more convenient. Combining AI with MBSE and digital twin is quite powerful. This is where the industry is going, especially when it comes to architecting solutions from end-to-end perspective, with end products going out to the international mission partners as well as domestic partners. I think this is the thought, not the question, but if you can tell something to this thought, would be wonderful.
This is a good thought, maybe, but maybe ladies want to jump on it. I can of course comment, but maybe there is someone else who wants to to comment first.
I think that Aurelius will answer the best.
Yeah.
That's definitely true, and one of the things maybe to add, that UAF as a standard is also undergoing a big transformation from being based on SysML version 1 to being based on the SysML version 2, which brings even more precision, rigor, and of course AI friendliness. So with this transformation in a couple of years, we will be even more AI ready than we actually are today with the UAF current version.
Yeah, and our company is working towards AI, but it's still work in the progress, and we will see where we get with this.
Okay, so thanks a lot for everyone. And if you have questions, or if you want to find some usable content on this topic and on other topics related to MBSE cyber systems, you may go to MBSE cyber systems community and to find the topics, the webinars, CATIA systems masterclass, talks, and many other very, very valuable content there. And of course, you can ask questions to which we all will be answering. I will leave the link to the community in the comment section to everyone to go there if you want. So thanks a lot, and I will invite you to go to our next CATIA masterclass in November. So, but for now, thanks a lot for the speakers. authors, and everyone who joined us today. Thanks a lot. See you in
Thank you.
other events.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.